Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Show. We are geeks who talk about everything. My name is Aaron, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Landon.
Good day. How's it going?
You kind of paused there. You all right?
Yes.
Are
No,
we
it
on
is a
lag?
good day. No, I was trying to work out I'm trying to decide what kind of my lighting. There we go. There we go. So
Oh,
I've got
you were
for the
trying to be
holiday
festive.
spirit. I am trying to be
I've
festive.
I've just got the usual stuff. If I could change my trajectory, I've got my Christmas tree right over here, which I can show it off.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's not. I mean, I guess I could do this where my tree's over there. I'm kind of
I
off
think
to
you
the side a
should.
little
I'm
bit.
still trying to
Is that
decipher
all right?
what's going on your screen behind you. That's what I'm trying to look and figure
Well,
out. I'm like, all right, I've got
it's a
six
YouTube
boxes of
menu.
things. Yeah, no, I'm trying
It's
to read them. I
YouTube.
can't read them, so
Oh,
just trying to
it's
see the different
well,
things.
when I see on the screen here, it's way too small. But what's highlighted, I believe, is the next video I was going to watch and then didn't have time. Is a reaction video to someone seeing Die Hard 2 for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that once we wrap everything up later on.
Oh, that's good.
And as we know,
All
Die Hard
right.
2 is a Christmas movie, which is a good
It
segue
to
into
be.
what we're
I
talking
consider
about
the
this
first
week.
one. I actually consider the first one to be a Christmas movie. So
It is. It
just
is. I
saying.
mean, they both are. They both are. And this week we
Thank you.
are talking about Christmas movies. Tis the season because this upcoming weekend, as we all know, is Christmas. It's this Sunday. Are you ready for Christmas?
Tis
Like,
the
have you gotten
season.
all of these
Oh,
things?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm
It's
not.
all been done. Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, that's a shame for you. Good luck. Good luck on that
Yeah,
endeavor.
thanks. You've got another week. Christmas shopping, that's what Christmas Eve is for.
Oh my gosh. What have
I'm
you
just
done to
kidding.
yourself?
I hang
Does
everything
this
except
explain the bad
for,
gifts you give? No.
are you kidding? My gifts are beloved by all. But that's
The
because
keychain from the gas station? Really?
the sneaky part is I just give out gift cards, which everyone loves and needs, but I also put them in cards that I create. I hand make my cards, and they are
Now
lovingly
that's true.
prepared for each individual. Now, let me tell
Now
you,
I will say
it's not too
that is a
shabby.
favorite by all. That is a favorite by all. The fact that you actually hand do the art, and it's good art on the cards that you give.
That's right. That's right.
By the way, thank you for the one that you gave to my 14-year-old daughter that had the Mockingjay symbol on it. She loved that.
She got it. I knew it was going to be late. I was.
And
I
she
knew
got
that
it.
was belated, but I'm glad it came. So good. Good, good, good. All right. So anyway, yes, we are talking about Christmas movies this week. If you celebrate Christmas, join in on the conversation with us. We want to hear what your favorite Christmas movies are. So leave comments wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast, because we are going to give our personal top 10 correct
Oh yeah.
Christmas movies. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, if it's a happy Hanukkah for you, then let's celebrate that. Happy Kwanzaa, happy winter solstice. That's coming up too, right? That's the 21st.
Festivus.
I don't know what's up.
Festivus,
Festivus,
any of
yeah,
those?
that's the 23rd. Festivus for the rest of us. Always important to celebrate with the aluminum pole and the airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances. Oh, so good. So classic. What'd you say?
Festivus is not over until you pay me.
Oh my gosh. So funny.
So
Man, I
great.
love Christmas. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. It really is. Well, there's a lot of memories, there's just there's a lot of fun, things that we do as a family and just movies, decorating, love it. I know for some people it's stressful. For some people it can be sad, because they've lost someone or they don't have somebody with them. And so, not trying to minimize that, it can be very challenging. But at the same time, for us, it's just been a great time for us as a family, always, always.
Yeah, even in the hard times, I think that it's been a good way to come together and remind us what we have and what we have to be thankful for, and how blessed we are as individuals and as a family. And um yeah, so speaking for us, two cousins who hardly get to see each other, but uh except for that once a year at our grandmother's house.
And that's
We're
really
looking forward
where
to that.
this kind of came out of, was because, you know, Aaron and I would sit at the Christmas Eve dinner table since we were kiddos, and still be just as full of humor, just as obnoxious, and all the way into our 40s. And so, you know, the idea of being able to do this on a regular basis is kind of taking Christmas to the whole year, actually, the whole year round.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it at Christmas last year that we really like seriously started talking about, hey, we should do a podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
All
We
right.
seriously laid it down, and we were like, we've got to do this. And I'm glad. I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been fun to kind of take a break from whether it's work or whether it's just popping up here to my little alcove and being able to talk about, you know, movies, fun things, comics, everything that we've talked about. But yeah, you know, I mean, it kind of came from Christmas, and yeah, I just remember all the years. Now, when we were younger, like really little, you know, everybody was just like, please, for the love of God, shut up. You know what I mean? But then as we got older, I think people started appreciating a bit more. You know, it's almost like we became uh the bantering entertainment, you know, of the evening.
I think the grown-ups enjoyed our banter a lot more than they let on when we were kids.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
they
know.
were, they just had to act like adults and try to put a stop to it because we were out of control. But I think that they got a kick out of
Nothing got broken. Did anything ever get broken? I don't
it.
recall us breaking anything, you know? I mean,
No,
so
nobody
harmless.
chokes to death from laughing too much. You
There were a
know,
few times
this
we could
is,
have.
oh yeah, I think it came close a few times, but no one got hurt. I
Oh
think
my
we're
goodness.
fine. We're fine.
What's your
So
just
how
so I can ask before we get into movies and stuff like that? I've got to ask, do you
yeah.
have whether it's a moment or whether it's a vibe, feeling, setting, that we've been a part of that kind of stands out from our childhood together at Christmas? Is there any certain setting or any certain thing that you remember most?
Um, so many of those years just kind of blend together. Just the way childhood tends to. You've got the big events that happen, and when you do the same things every year, traditionally, um, it kind of all turns into one big memory that certain things happened in different years. Obviously, they didn't all happen on the same night, but you know, I I look back at our childhood and when our grandparents lived out in Daleville, which
Right.
is outside of Roanoke, um, in
Botetourt area.
Virginia. It's if you've never heard of Daleville, don't worry, you're not alone. But that's where their house was. It was up on this hill that was kind of at the foot of Tinker Mountain, and they had a full finished basement, and
Yeah.
that's where we would retire after dinner. We would go down there. Everyone had their corner of the basement, our individual little families inside the larger family, and we would find our
Circular
places to
on the
go
floor. Yeah,
on the
circular.
floor.
This is what I remember. Same thing as
All of
you.
us
This
sitting on
is
the
what I
floor.
remember. Yep.
um you know because at that point we were all young. I mean, of course
Yep.
we were kids, but our parents were still young enough to be able to sit down on the floor and not have any problems getting up, and even our grandparents could sit on the floor and
Yeah.
not have any problems getting up, and that's
Yeah.
that's just not the case today.
Not the
And
case.
so
No.
yeah, we would all sit around, and of course, the kids, we got to open our presents first. We'd take
Yes.
turns going around. And this always bugged me, and it has bugged me into adulthood. Why do we go one at a time? it takes 3 hours
It
for
does.
4 kids to open presents.
Way too long. Let's have a frenzy. Let's have a frenzy.
Seriously. I think
No,
that's
but it
how
was
it's
so much
happening this
fun.
year.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. That's what I remember. I remember their finished basement, us being in that circle, and I remember the gifts that you know, um, your parents and my parents and our other aunt and uncle would give collectively to our grandparents, and
Mhm.
there'd be like a big gift for them. I remember one year you got the Batman VHS, and I remember seeing that, and that was a big deal. Do you remember when you got that?
I mean, it must have been 1990,
Yeah,
because
yeah, it was
or
like way back then.
maybe
So
89,
yeah, but
because Batman came out in 89, so it must
yeah,
have been new for Christmas.
yeah, I
Um,
remember that was a
I can't
really cool
believe
moment.
can't believe I would have gotten that for Christmas, because I don't think I was allowed to see that in the theater. My parents were afraid it was too dark.
Maybe it was something we gave you.
I don't know. I don't know. But that would have been a big deal, because back then, VHS tapes were like $20 a pop
Oh yeah,
to to
yeah.
get a VHS tape that you're not renting.
Oh my God,
So yeah, that definitely would have been a big deal.
so much
Um,
fun, so much fun. I love that. I love thinking back on it. And we still have our Christmas time together. Even now, we still get together and have that Christmas Eve, and then of course our family times for Christmas Day have all evolved from what they were when we were all kids with our separate families. And we started doing a tradition with my wife and kiddos where before we head to Roanoke for that event, we have our own. We have so tomorrow night, which will be Sunday. This will air probably on Wednesday, but we will have our own time together. We'll have a few gifts, just a few, but we'll have a dinner that we'll have together, and we'll have our own time so that we can have that, since we don't normally get to have just an us time with all the different hustle bustle, my sister's family, my parents, and then the extended family. So it's really fun to do that. We've done it for about 3 years, and I love having that.
that's a good idea. We don't really do anything on Christmas
You go to a
too much these
movie?
days.
Don't you always go to a movie?
We do always go to a movie, yeah. So mom, my sister, and I will go see. This year, I think we've chosen the Whitney Houston biopic to go see, because there's not really anything big out. I mean, all right, I don't want to mention the movie on the podcast, because I don't want to give it any kind of free advertisement. But Avatar's out now, the new Avatar sequel, and
The Way of the
I
Sequel.
I hated the original one. I have no idea why people are excited 12 years later to see a second one. I don't know why we're supposed to be excited about James Cameron saying that there are going to be 5 total once he's all said and done. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I couldn't care less. You couldn't pay me to go see this new Avatar movie. So we're
And
not going to go see that on Christmas. We're going to go
so,
see
so
I Want to Dance
listeners,
with Somebody.
in short, go see Avatar. Enjoy it. Merry Christmas. Um,
If you do, I hope you hate it. I hope you
boiled
feel
in
like
your
you
own
wasted your
pudding.
money.
Boiled in your. Come on, let's move on to the Christmas movies. You
Yes,
naysaying Avatar,
I'll stop being.
skeptic.
Oh, you didn't like it either. Shut up.
I didn't like it either. I did,
You
but I
just
like the
like the
ride.
ride
I
at
like the
Disney.
ride at Animal
You just
Kingdom.
like the ride at Disney. Yeah, that's it. That's fine. I'll give you that. But I'm not. No, no. Don't
Oh my
pretend like you
God.
didn't like the movie either. It's
Oh,
Dances with
there's no.
Wolves portrayed by giant Smurfs. That's all it is. Ugh. Get some new material, Cameron.
Oh, shops with an alien. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about Christmas movies. So, there is no shortage of Christmas movies. And of course, if you talk to my wife and about Hallmark, there is absolutely no shortage of Christmas movies, of which I avoid at all costs. I really I really can't stomach many of them, but my wife and daughter have gotten into it and they watch all these movies together, and it's so cool. I love that they love them. And you'll see me exit. It's almost they'll be like, "Hey, let's watch." And I'm like, "Hey, I've got to go upstairs and handle a thing with the bills or there's a fire."
Quietly like moonwalk out of there so they
Yeah,
don't see.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So listeners, viewers, if you want my take on Hallmark Christmas movies, I recently actually wrote the premise of one on my blog, confusingmiddle.com. If you're interested in that, go check it out,
Go check
because
it out.
I thought I did a pretty good job with it. I came across a thing on Facebook. A friend of mine had posted. It was like almost like a Mad Libs kind of thing that gave you the plot of a Hallmark movie, and it was like based on like what color shirt are you wearing? That's the type of character you are.
It's almost like Star Trek
what's your
with your
birthday?
shirts, you know?
What?
It's almost like with Star Trek with the shirts, you can
Yeah, yeah.
determine
What color
who's the
shirt are
race.
you? So like I think mine was something like I'm a I was a an atheist who came to my hometown to get deprogrammed from a cult that I had just been in, and I fall in love with a doomsday prepper. And we find out the true meaning of Christmas. So
There
it
is
was a lot of
now
fun.
there is a new interesting movie that's come out on Netflix, which is about this guy, this adult, this lawyer who hardcore believes in Santa Claus. And he's met this girl and they've come together and they have this double date with some friends, and it comes out that he actually really believes in Santa Claus. And so the movie's all about trying to roll with that, and trying to figure that out. And I haven't watched all of it, but my daughter and wife have been watching it. So yeah,
When you say he believes in Santa Claus, that's because it's obvious that Santa Claus exists, right? And because, well, why
absolutely,
wouldn't you believe in Santa Claus?
absolutely. It's
Okay, good.
funny though. I will
Thank you.
say, navigating the conversations of Santa Claus with my kids has been interesting. And don't worry, listeners, we will always, both Aaron and I, be advocates of the entire full belief in Santa Claus. So there will be no question of whether or not there is a Santa Claus at all. We will continue to purport the fact that there is. But I will say, navigating those with my growing kids as they became older, I started using the words like legend. You know what I mean? The value of a legend, and a legend, my kids ask me stuff like, do aliens exist? And I'm like, I have no reason to believe otherwise. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. So anyway, one of the funnest movies that I ever watched, that was a surprise to watch, that my kids watched, was a movie called Rise of the Guardians. And this was an animated, or a computer animated movie. And it had, I think, Chris Pine voiced the main character of Jack Frost, I think.
I think
Did
I
you ever
remember
see
that.
this
Yeah.
movie?
I don't think I ever watched it all the way through. I think one time, okay, this is not to get sidetracked, but I was leading a Bible study at my house one time, and we were going through a uh like a series where we were like so like several of us who were going to lead the Bible study throughout a few weeks. We picked a movie, and it was like, let's dissect the movie and see what theological kind of things this movie has to say. I know I did the Wizard of Oz when I picked mine, which now I can't remember how that tied into theology, but um, a friend of mine had done that, Rise of the Guardians. But I remember the night that she came to do that with our small group, I had a migraine, and so I was just like, "You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to lead it. I'm gonna have to go upstairs and go to sleep. So if you
Oh,
don't
really?
mind, when y'all finish up, lock up." So they watched the movie,
But you didn't get
and
to dive
but
into it.
I didn't see it at all, and
Oh,
so like I
it's a
felt so
great
bad.
movie. No, it's
I've
a
heard
great
good
movie.
things.
So like, some major actors were voice acting in it. So you had Hugh Jackman, you had Alec Baldwin, you had Chris Pine, let me see, Jude Law, and those are the main names I know. Also, Isla Fisher. I don't know how to say
Isla,
her name, but she's from
Isla,
it's Isla. She was from that movie with Zach
Wedding
Galifianakis.
Crashers.
Oh yeah, Wedding Crashers too. Yeah, yeah. So but the movie is based upon, it's like Jack Frost, and it's got like the Tooth Fairy in it, it's got like the Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and it's got all these, but it really has a great message for Christmas, and just just the spirit of Christmas and belief, and you had this darkness that was coming because of a lack of belief, which is often the premise of many Christmas movies, in
Right.
some form or fashion. But it was such a great, wonderful movie that any kid could watch, and adult. So I recommend it to anyone. Let's see what else. Now, I want to see, because there's so many that everybody knows, but there are ones that stand out to me that are often unknown to many people. One of those was Rise of the Guardians. The other one I was thinking about was One Magic Christmas back in the day. That was like in the 80s. That was 80.
86, I think.
Yeah, let me look here. That had Mary Steenburgen in it.
Yeah.
And
She's
yeah,
it had Harry Dean Stanton
Harry
as
Dean,
Gabriel.
right? Which, of course, the only other movie that I really remember him vividly from was Alien. You know what I mean? And his
He wasn't that.
horrific
He
death.
was if you haven't seen Paris, Texas, he's in that, and he does it's a really it's an interesting movie. Worth watching maybe once.
But you remember One Magic Christmas?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh
That was
man,
one that we had on a VHS tape. You know, where you could like do the slow version and you could put like three movies on one 6 hour long tape.
yeah.
We had that on there, Santa Claus the movie, and one other Christmas movie. I can't remember what the last one was on there. Um, but I think I only we'd watch those first two over and over again.
But that was
So
another
yes,
one too. That one Magic Christmas and Santa Claus the movie were the other two that I was going to talk about that are often unsung heroes, of Christmas movies. I loved both of them, and I could watch them either one at any time.
I will say this. I watched One Magic Christmas over again a couple of years ago, and for the first time in probably like 25 years. And it was not as good as I thought it was, as I remembered it
Oh,
being
really?
as a kid. Um, and it's one of those that yes, I would probably, in a heartbeat put it on. It's on Disney Plus. I'd probably turn it on and have no qualms watching it at all. Doesn't matter what I think about the quality of it as an adult, because it does stir up that nostalgia in me from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it is a very dark and disturbing movie when
Well,
you
right.
really think about it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
No, it
on the
is.
one hand, you've sort of got a Christmas Carol sort of story where you've got Mary Steenburgen in sort of a Scrooge kind of role. I mean, she's not wealthy, and she's not visited by three spirits that convince her that Christmas is important, but she does hate Christmas,
And she
and
loses
it
it all.
takes.
Yeah.
She loses everything. She
Yeah.
loses her husband. She almost loses her kids.
Yeah.
Everything just completely in her world, just gets completely turned upside down, and then she's convinced that by having a better outlook, having a more positive role to play in the world, that she's going to get back from the world what she puts into it, where for the first half of the movie she's putting all this hatred and bile out into the world,
Yeah.
and that's all
Yeah.
she's getting back.
But I think the part that I really appreciate about the movie, even as an adult, is she's dealing with real problems. She's dealing with a husband who's got dreams and hopes and all that, but she's the one who's dealing with stuff on a daily basis. She's got a rude boss. They have hardly any money. Nobody's being realistic. The kids are being kids, and she's like wanting them to be adult minded. And I mean, there's just a lot of junk that happens, that she's got to deal with. But the overarching message is, yeah, that's true, but you still can live a life of happiness, hope, and giving and love, even amidst the storms of life. And I love the message. I will say I still get anxiety from the scene where she is, in the bathroom. She's taking a shower, and the door, or the phone rings or something like that, right? And so
Yeah.
she
So she
has to
gets out of
get
the
out of the
shower.
shower, and she's got to go, but the rag falls into the tub to stop the drain. And I still get anxiety as I know the tub is about to overflow, and the
Yeah.
kids in the bathroom and the water flows. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost like I'm watching some apocalyptic movie and things are about to be destroyed based upon my anxiety level.
It's just water, man.
Dude, I don't
Um,
know why, and what's weird.
the part that gives me anxiety is when she's out there outside at night. Her husband goes for a walk, and then all of a sudden, all of the Christmas lights on the block just start going
Yeah,
out,
go
and they're
down.
playing
Yeah,
those dis dissonant chords playing, and it's like that's scary.
Dun,
This is a
dun,
G-rated
dun.
movie.
I was actually looking for Professor Dumbledore with his putter outer,
Yeah, that makes more sense. Maybe that's who Gideon really was.
Yeah,
He was Dumbledore in
he's a young
disguise.
Dumbledore, so no, that was such a good movie. Let's see, and let's talk about Santa Claus the movie too, because that movie, if nobody remembers, it had Dudley Moore, and Dudley Moore, nobody really thinks about Dudley Moore anymore, really. But he was back then, he was a very popular actor, and had done a lot of things in the 80s. But his role, he was like an elf, for Santa Claus. And the bad guy was what? Oh, Patch. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Patch
And,
was his name.
and the bad guy was John Lithgow,
Yeah.
and he was a
He was
great
like
bad
a
guy.
Lex Luthor type of like businessman. Owned a toy store, and like the first time we meet him, he's testifying in front of Congress about how unsafe his toys are, and like they open up a teddy bear and like they pour sawdust and nails and screws fall out of it. It's like I don't know what to say. I'm just as appalled as you are.
Yeah. No, he's such a good bad guy, but the movie has him manipulating, Patch, Dudley Moore's character. You have Santa Claus, who was played by who was that actor's name? Oh man.
Something.
But
He's one of those. He's one of those character actors that you see in everything.
Yeah.
But I can never remember his name. David something.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Santa Claus the movie
Um,
had it was David Huddleston. David
Huddleston.
David
I need to
Huddleston,
start with an
and
H.
people will remember him from like The Big Lebowski, Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of stuff back in the day. So the producers, and he's a lot of these people have died since, but it had Burgess Meredith in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a wholesome movie. You get to see like the origin of Santa Claus, how Santa Claus came to be, and you get to see this awesome scene of the North Pole, really, which I don't think has ever been paralleled. Even in the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, I really don't think I've ever seen a movie that better portrays the North Pole like Santa Claus the movie did.
Yeah, it was something about it was very magical in just the way that everything was portrayed. Especially like again, to me, seeing it as a kid, I know we saw that in the theater when I was 5 years old. It was one of those experiences that was just all right. It was just neat. It was a great family experience that I remember going and seeing that with my parents and my sister, and
but see, that is
and
who
it was kind of a big deal. It was a big deal
it
that
was a big
Christmas
deal. Yeah.
because when Santa brought presents that Christmas, he brought several things that were associated with that movie. Some of the like the wooden toys that the elves made in the movie that had the elf stamp on them, like storybooks that were based on the movie. It was neat
Merchandising.
to have all that tie-in stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost as if our family bought stock in this movie, and it's like, oh,
Santa
we've
Claus the
got all
movie.
this swag.
Now, I mean, to me, when I think of Santa Claus, I think of David Huddleston's portrayal. That's the true Santa Claus to me. Now, I know that kids these days, and my kids would see Tim Allen, in his, this Santa Claus, probably as most likely Santa Claus. But to me, I'll always that laugh, that hearty laugh, and the way that his persona was and who he was, that will always be Santa Claus to me. Really.
Yeah, and just I know there's several scenes where he's very heartfelt when he's talking to other people on screen, but when he's talking to that homeless kid,
Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
he promises him something. He promises Joe. I can't remember what it was he promised him, but Joe's not used to hearing promises and expecting them to be kept.
Right.
And Santa just looks at him and he says, "Joe, I never lie."
Yeah.
And that's just like he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
It's like this is a guy that you can trust. And
Yeah.
just the way he played that character I thought was great.
I thought it was great. The and the other storyline with the little girl, whatever, I can't remember her name, the character's name, but the
Amelia.
yeah, so her storyline and then that connecting with Joe and just the way the whole movie came about to its conclusion was epic. I loved that movie. But those are the ones that I think about that maybe people don't really think about. I mean, the other one that's probably left, I think most adults our age would remember Prancer. That movie will probably always stick with you. I remember you said at the end of our last
Week,
podcast,
yeah.
yeah, you were talking about how you kind of were siding more with the dad.
Sam Elliott, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sam
I
Elliott.
just I just watched that last week. And yeah, I'm definitely on the side of the parents at this point, as opposed to the kids looking for the magic of a reindeer. I'm like, come on, you are an irresponsible child, and he is doing his best to look out for you and your safety. Now stop throwing that in his face
Single
and do what
dad.
your
Give the
dad
man a break.
says.
Yeah, come on. You know,
It's Sam Elliott. He has an mustache. You listen to this man.
I wouldn't question Sam Elliott. If Sam Elliott said anything to me, I'd be like, yes, sir. Whatever you say. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
How fast? If Sam Elliott says jump, I'm asking how high.
That's exactly right. All right. So there's a few movies that I think have come out in the last 2 decades especially, but by the time we became adults that have really taken off, right? And so kids today, I think about my kids and just other kids that we know, they've got some iconic movies that they latch on to that wouldn't be these like we did. Obviously our parents, I mean, there's White Christmas, Holiday Inn, there's Miracle on 34th Street. Speaking of Miracle on 34th Street, the remake that came out with Dylan McDermott. Was it Dylan McDermott? Or
Yeah.
was that him? Was that the guy who played
Yeah.
the lawyer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
that,
lawyer.
yeah, and then also the girl that was in Big.
No.
Was that not her?
She was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda.
Oh no, that's the daughter. No, I'm talking about the girl, the
Oh,
mom.
you're talking about Elizabeth.
Perkins? Was it Elizabeth Perkins? Isn't that her name?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that movie was wonderful. I mean, it's hard to
I
do a
hated
remake,
it.
right? You didn't like the set. You didn't like the remake.
No, I like the original. If I'm given a choice, I will pick the original every single time
I
with that one.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. No one can beat the scene of the gum in the beard like that happens in the original. That was the best.
Yeah. I mean, and little Natalie Wood, she's adorable.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
way she at the
Hollywood.
end of it, when they come across the house that
Yeah.
he promised, and that's I mean, I cry. I cry when we get to the end of that version of Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the 90s version doesn't do a thing to me.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. I like both of them. But there are definitely some elements of the first one that are just you just can't beat. But like so our parents had a few of those movies that were popular too. And of course there's all those stop animation Rudolph.
The Rankin Bass
Yeah, yeah. There were so
stop
many of
stop
those.
motion stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's almost like we have three eras of this, right? And oh, the one movie I didn't mention that's from the 80s that I love is Bill Murray's Scrooged.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that is a classic.
So good.
That might be my favorite version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah.
I know people our generation are gonna scream, no, no, I'm up at Christmas Carol's the best one. No, Scrooge,
I didn't even rank that.
that's not
Yeah.
even my top 10 now.
No.
Scrooge is great. It's got so many great moments in it that I mean, you just like Murray returned to acting for that movie. Yeah, he had taken a hiatus from being in anything for a couple of years, and then he comes back and he does this movie, and it is so great. And I
It's
love
so
just the
good.
beginning of it when they're showing the promos for the Christmas stuff that's coming on their TV station.
Yeah.
I, I wish that Lee Majors movie was real. The night the reindeer died.
I know.
You've been a good boy, Lee Majors.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, so good. And then there's I think who did it have in it? It had John Glover in it,
Yeah.
who pretty much played the same character he did in Gremlins 2.
Yeah, he was just Clamp all over
It's
again.
Clamp again.
Um,
Oh
it
man.
had Karen Allen
Karen
was
Allen
his
from
girlfriend, and
Karen Allen, for
um
anyone who's wondering, is the love interest from Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Marion. So she was great. I mean, just the whole, what was her nickname for him? That was such a silly Lumpy?
Oopie.
Lumpy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The lump on his head. Oh man. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. That is now rivaled though for me because I saw the movie Spirited with uh
Oh yeah. That
Ryan
was
Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
that was
And
pretty good. Yeah.
I gotta say, that's gonna be an every year movie for us in our household.
Yeah, folks, if you've got Apple TV Plus, check that one out.
Oh,
It's on there
it's
now.
so
Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell. It is a musical update of A Christmas Carol,
good
and
afternoon.
it's got a nice twist to it. It's got a decent twist to it. So
Anybody,
you know,
anybody who's seen it, when I say good afternoon, I totally bet they're going, good afternoon, back to you. It's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So
oh man.
let's see what else. So do you rank up there? I mean, we'll go through our top 10 here in a minute, but like the Home Alone movies, like what are your feeling about the Home Alone series, and then any particular movies that stand out, don't stand out, that sort of thing?
As far as I'm concerned, there's Home Alone and there's Home Alone 2,
And that's it.
and that's it.
Me
That's
too.
it.
Me too.
There should never have been a three. I get what they were trying to do because Macaulay Culkin had grown out of the role, so they had to do something different.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever actually have seen three all the way through. And then
I
they've
have
done like
forced
four
to.
and five were straight to TV or DVD releases,
Straight to the
and I've
trash,
heard
actually,
nothing
in my
positive about
household.
any of them. And then last year, Disney Plus came out with Home Sweet Home Alone, which I didn't watch because all I heard was negative things about it.
Yeah, that's awful. No, I honestly, I mean, there are some people who would really disagree with me saying this, but um, although I liked Home Alone when it first came out, it is completely beaten for me by Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, will always be one of my favorite movies. It's Tim Curry, it's being in the city, it's all of the different things that happen, just going and having a
Donald Trump
hotel.
shows up.
Yeah, that's right. When he passes him in the lobby. Yeah, but there's so much that movie that just takes that whole theme to the next level. So I don't really, Home Alone will be on, and I'll be like, I'll watch in the background, but nothing compared to when Home Alone 2, I'll sit up and I'll start repeating every line of the movie, much to my kids' disdain.
So I'm the other way around. For me, it's the first one that's the better of the two. Um, just like with Ghostbusters, man. You for whatever reason you like Ghostbusters 2 better than
I
Ghostbusters 1.
do. I do.
Um, no, I do like the original Home Alone just because of the um I don't know. Again, I think for me, it's the nostalgia of it. I mean, Home Alone 2 has that same nostalgia with it too. I mean, but again, that's why I'm counting both of those, and none of the rest of that series
Yeah.
should even be on anyone's radar as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
But with that first one, I'll crack up every time the pizza guy runs away thinking he's getting shot at. I laugh at that like it's the first time I've seen it every time.
Merry Christmas, you
It's
filthy
it's
animal.
hilarious.
Rat bait. And let me ask you this. What about Polar Express? How do you feel about Polar Express? There are a lot of
Never liked
lovers
it.
of Polar
I've
Express.
never liked that movie. I've never liked that movie. As
Really?
much as I love Tom Hanks, I love Robert Zemeckis as a director. The Polar Express freaks me out. It's the whole Uncanny Valley thing. I cannot get past the animation of that movie. It's creepy. It's creepy. It's the same reason I don't watch the Jim Carrey version of Christmas Carol. It's the same reason I haven't watched that animated version of Beowulf because it freaks me out. You're trying to get this realistic version of human beings, but you're not quite there, and it looks off. And it's the same reason I freaked out or get freaked out when I think about the live action version of The Lion King. That was a weird movie.
You've seen,
You've got these realistic versions of animals
and you're
who
like,
are
their mouths
supposed
are
to be
moving.
portraying emotions, but you can't put emotion on a lion's face because that's not realistic.
They tried. Well, so speaking of, so what do you think about The Nightmare Before Christmas? Do you consider that to be a Christmas movie? And A, do you enjoy that
Consider
movie?
I do like that movie, but I consider it a Halloween movie.
Yeah. I've really considered it both. It's, to me, it bridges the gap with both genres. But I, and I like it. I just don't, but there are some people who really, really get into that movie. Polar
It's not
Express,
one that I watch all the time, and I don't have the songs memorized or anything with
right.
that one. But it's one that I don't mind watching it. But again, and I don't have a problem with if someone considers it a Christmas movie. But for me, it's a Halloween movie. It's
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying about the Polar Express. There, I think that there's the music, I think gets a lot of people. And I think, it's got a very honoring Christmas vibe to it, right? They're like almost upholding the very serious value of Christmas, right? So I
Now
can
I
see
did
that
like
for
the
some.
book, The Polar Express,
Yeah.
like the picture book
Yeah.
that whenever that came. I can't remember when that came out, but I know it was one that was popular to read to kids when I was working in schools. Around Christmas time, it was one that got pulled out every year. And it's a beautiful book, like it's beautifully illustrated,
Yeah.
but that did not translate well to the big screen. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
for me, it just didn't.
Viewership just went down. No, I'm just kidding.
It freaked me out, man.
That's all right. All right. Oh, we didn't mention A Christmas Story, which of course they made a sequel recently, of A Christmas Story with the same
A Christmas
actor.
Story, Christmas.
Yeah, Peter
Peter Billingsley, yeah.
Billingsley. Yeah, I've always loved A Christmas Story. My wife has seen it so many times. Of course, we all have seen it so many times, but she can kind of do without it, or just kind of have in the background or anything like that. I still have moments in it that I just remember that stick with me. Um, yeah, I really still I really like the movie. I could it's kind of a Christmas regular for me.
Oh yeah. If I still had cable, that would be one that like, every year when TBS or TNT shows it on a
Ted
24
Turner,
hour loop, I would leave my TV on the whole 24 hours and just let it go.
Ted
If I
Turner.
still
You
had
could just
cable, I'd do that.
imagine. You could just imagine he goes in the programming office and he's just like, "We're doing Christmas Story, round the clock, nonstop." Sir, do you think we could? You're fired. You know, I mean, it's just like it is a must for TBS.
Yeah, oh, every year. Every year.
Oh
It's
my
such a great
gracious.
movie.
Um, of course, we have to talk about, Die Hard. We mentioned it before, but I really unquestionably and without even hesitation believe it to be a Christmas movie. Why do you think some people have such a hard time considering it? Just because it's action?
Because it's action. Because well, and also it did not come out at Christmas time. It came out in the summer. Now it was
Oh,
intended to come out at Christmas, from what if I remember correctly, but it came out in the summer because of a writer's strike back in the 80s, and
oh,
so they had to fill in weekend slots in during that summer,
yeah,
and so they couldn't put it off until Christmas time, and so
yeah,
it
yeah.
came out in the
Okay.
summertime. It's an action movie, and people just think, oh, it's an action movie, and it just happens to take place on Christmas. Well, I'm sorry, but without Christmas, Die Hard wouldn't have happened
That's
because
true.
they wouldn't have had that Christmas party in the building, and the terrorists wouldn't have been able to pick that day to hold them hostage. So
Now,
there you go.
now I've seen this shirt that somebody's worn that says, "It's not Christmas till Hans Gruber falls from the Nakatomi Tower."
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that shirt.
I think
Oh,
that
I
started
love
out as a
that shirt.
meme somewhere. Yeah, that's one of those that's
And it shows his
totally.
face as he's slow motion. Oh
Oh,
my gosh, that's hilarious.
if you haven't seen the episode of Movies That Made Us that's about Die Hard, watch it.
Yeah,
It is
that's good.
brilliant, and it tells so many behind the scenes stories. Like my favorite one though is that one with Alan Rickman as he's falling. Uh, they told him they were going to drop him on 3, but they dropped him on 1, and so the surprise look on his face is
Is
genuine.
real.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Though, although I really enjoy Die Hard and always will, I really like Die Hard with a Vengeance the most of all of them. The one with him and Samuel Jackson,
yeah,
and Irons. Oh my gosh,
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. So good. That's such a good movie.
Yeah. So Die Hard 2 is what it is.
Yeah,
It's another one you can call a Christmas movie because
yeah,
yes, it takes place at Christmas. But that one is just like it got more violent and more gory just because they could.
yeah, because they got
There's no
correct.
story to it. There's really no story to
No,
that one.
no,
But Die Hard with a Vengeance, they come back not a Christmas movie at all, just
no.
straight action.
Yeah,
But this one at least ties into the first one instead of just making mention that, oh, we know who John McClane is because he's the hero from the Nakatomi Tower. No, no, no. This one ties into it because it's his brother. It's Hans's brother that's the
yeah.
bad guy, and he's going after John McClane with a vengeance because he killed his brother.
And ironically, it he's really just using that as a ploy. I mean, he wants to do that, but he's also has this whole other plan as well, to make
Right.
money out of it. You know what I mean?
So,
So
like you know that he and the people he's working for, they're just they're going after the money. That is their primary target. But Simon sees this as an opportunity. Hey, we're in New York. Might as well take out John McClane while we're here, right? So let's do it. And I
we're
think
here,
it gets on the
get
other
the
guys,
money.
like the other bad guys' nerves. They're like, stop toying with him and kill him already.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's fun. Have you seen the Daddy's Home movies
Yes.
with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
So we love
Can't
those
believe
movies.
can't believe Daddy's Home got a sequel, but the other guys didn't. I
So
mean, come on.
yeah, okay, that's fair. But Daddy's Home 2, is a Christmas movie, and
Yeah. I
we
think the second
really
one better than the
love
first one.
we like the second one better than the first one.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
that one, the sequel, is better.
Just the end when they're in the movie theater and they're all singing that
Just the
song.
end where they were singing
That's the
Do They
best.
Know It's Christmas?
I just think it's
And
hilarious that you have John Lithgow, who again plays the bad guy in one of my favorite Christmas movies, Santa Claus the movie, back from my childhood, ends up being the most soft-hearted, loving character.
for a second there, I thought you were saying he was the bad guy in Daddy's Home too. I was like, what are you talking about?
No,
There's
no,
no
no. From
bad
the,
guy
the
in
bad
Daddy's
guy from
Home
the
too.
Santa Claus the movie ends up being the most soft-hearted, loving character. It's hilarious. And I've got to say, Mel Gibson makes me just die laughing in that movie. His character, like that part
That's
when
a
he
great
first
part.
meets that first well, the parts when he first meets John Lithgow, and John Lithgow saying, "I take as many flights as I can so I can meet the most people." And Mel Gibson says, "Ah, so you're a lunatic." You know, it's just hilarious. Oh my gosh.
So I think my favorite part of that, and not that I'm a huge John Cena fan, but when they start singing that song at the end there in the theater, it gets his attention. He's like, "This is my favorite song. I don't care if it's August. I'll play it."
And then at the end, and when they're trying to bring him back, they turn on. He's like, "Gosh, that song," And then and they say, "You know what time it is, don't you?" And he's like, "Yeah." Or no, he says, "Where are they not?" It's the part about Africa from the song, right? It's how's that go? And that song,
Tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
no, it's that the part when John Cena sings is the part there won't be snow in Africa, and so they said,
Oh yeah.
you know, what they don't have in Africa, right? He's like, yeah, I do. There won't be snow, and then he starts singing it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, all round, really, really funny movie. We'll even throughout the year, my kids, and my wife and I, every once in a while, we'll think about the daughter who drinks a little too much spiked eggnog, right? And she she looks at Will Ferrell and she says, "Brad," and he's like, "Ooh, she's a mean drunk." Oh my gosh. Will Ferrell has become just the Christmas guy, for our culture. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
think
he's
about Spirited, Elf, Daddy's Home 2. I look at him and I think, who else has done this many Christmas movies, separate
Tim
Christmas
Allen.
movies? Well, no, but that's all the same. It's all the same
Yeah.
Santa Claus.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Oh, right. I didn't think about that.
Vince
One
Vaughn has done Four Christmases and
four
Fred
Christmas.
Claus.
That's true. That's true. Well, Will Ferrell has 3. All right, so there you go. He wins. Thank you.
Does he though?
He does win. Will Ferrell,
Tim Allen has 4.
do we have to count all of them?
Yeah, they're 3 separate movies.
We shouldn't count all of them. We shouldn't.
You don't watch Santa Claus 2 and 3 as part of, yes, as a trilogy, but they're separate movies.
I don't watch Santa Claus 2 and 3, and I don't watch Santa Claus the series. I don't watch any Santa Claus except for the first Santa Claus. I don't
That's
really
really sad
enjoy
for
the other
you.
ones. No, I just don't like. Now at the same time, I like the wife, so the second one, I like it because of her, and I like it was a good story and all that stuff. Well, it was okay, you know what I mean? But the first one, that's just my thing. I don't really need to see any of the other ones.
So just watched the trilogy today, and so I could go and watch the show because
You'll
I
never
heard
get
the
that
show got a
time back.
second season already.
Really?
Uh,
This
yeah,
it's
the show
the
got
show's getting a second season?
yeah. I read that somewhere this week, and so I was like, well, I guess I need to watch it then. And it's been years since I've watched any of the movies. I really do. I love the first one. The second one I think is good. The third one I hate. Like it's
Yep.
as a movie, I think is not good.
Yep.
I don't understand the whole plot with uh Jack Frost
Nope.
and all that. But the show so far, I think I'm 3 episodes in out of 6. It's all right. Like it's nothing to write home about, but I'm curious just to see how the story's going to play out. But yeah, the first one I thought was really well done
Yeah.
and really a unique concept to the idea of, well, this is why Santa Claus is immortal because the torch gets passed on from
One
one
to one.
Santa to the next.
We saw that at Salem Valley 8 together. You remember? We all went together as a family. Our whole family. That's the only time we've ever all gone to a movie together like that. During Christmas. That was the one that we saw that.
Yep.
That was fun.
Was that?
I don't know when that was.
I don't know.
90.
I'm thinking.
Have you seen Love Actually?
Of course.
That's not a movie that Daphne and I will watch with our kiddos. But
Well, no,
no, and you
you
should.
shouldn't.
No, but it is something that she and I will always watch every year. We love that movie. We
Absolutely a Christmas movie.
such a good movie. And it's got so many great people in it. For those who haven't seen, it's got Andrew Lincoln, it's got Hugh Grant, it's got Emma Thompson, it's got Alan Rickman, Laura Linney.
And really, who hasn't seen it? Come on.
Everybody should see it. I always still with Alan Rickman go, don't do it, please, please don't. And then you know,
As many bad guys as he plays, that's the only one you really want to punch in the face.
it's true. It's true. This is, you know, other ones it's like the bad guy you love to hate. This is the bad guy you're like, I really hate that you did that, you know. Oh, but then there's other parts. I mean, just seeing Hugh Grant, you know, and the girl workout, you know, that was great. The Colin Firth storyline is by far Daffy and my favorite, you know, story.
That's my favorite one with the Portuguese maid.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know,
That one's the most heartfelt, I think.
yeah.
Of them all. All right, hey, let's before we start dwindling on time, let's get into these top 10 lists. What's you want to start with yours?
Yeah, sure. All right, do you want me to work down?
Yeah, start with your 10 and get to the best one.
All right, so number 10 will be The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That first one. It'll always have a near and dear place in my heart. Number 9 will be Santa Claus the movie, the one we talked about. That was of my favorite Santa Claus. Then there will be number 7 is Scrooged with Bill Murray. Before that will be Daddy's Home 2. Cannot stop watching or laughing at that movie. Then I have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. One Magic Christmas will come before that one. It'll always get me in the heartstrings. And surprisingly, to jump right in the middle of my top 10 after watching this movie is Spirited. I can already tell that's going to be a family favorite of ours for years to come. Probably because the music was done by the same people who did Greatest Showman. So yeah,
That is true.
That's our vibe. And then number 3 will be Love Actually. Number 2 will be Elf. And number 1 will always be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I've got a few honorable mentions.
Why is the plural wet?
I don't know, Margot.
Margot.
I've got a few honorable mentions. Just shouting out there: The Polar Express, A Christmas Story, Rise of the Guardians, Die Hard, and Prancer. The other ones like Four Christmases and Fred Claus and all those are fine, but you know, yeah. All right, lead the way, my friend.
Okay, so I put my 10 lists together based on movies that I've put together on Flickchart. For those of you who are unaware, Flickchart is a website where you can go and you can rank movies that you've seen. At this point, I have ranked 2,533 movies, or at least that's according to Flickchart. That's how many I've seen. I've clicked through 37,637 rankings. That's a lot, but you can put on here like if you want to find a genre, you can get on here and find what favorite holiday movies you have. And I think I've got about 60 holiday movies somewhere on my list. Doesn't necessarily mean that that these are the top 10 movies on my list, because number one, out of everything, obviously, Back to the Future. Top 10 as far as Christmas movies go. At the bottom of the list, we start with Four Christmases, which I don't know. There's something about it that cracked. I think I could watch that scene where they're playing Taboo house over and over. The way that,
your mic is
going
in and out a little bit there. Say that again. That scene about Taboo. What were you saying? Yeah, it's kind of going in and out a little bit there. Now you're gone completely. This has become the Landon show.
Yours is going in and
out. Now I hear you.
Your microphone was going in and out too. Is it still doing it?
What is this madness? No, you're fine. You're good now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, scene with Jon Favreau and his wife. where they're going back and forth playing. I just think it's number 9, Batman Returns.
Oh, good call.
That is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, good call.
Most people don't think about that, but it is. Where am I? Oh, number 8. Number 8, Gremlin. Also,
Gremlins.
number 7, Elf. Number 6, Lethal Weapon.
I like Lethal Weapon.
Number 5, Christmas Vacation. Number 4, Home Alone. Coming in at number 3, A Christmas Story. Number 2, Die Hard. And number 1, the holiday classic, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Hadn't even mentioned that in the entire podcast. That's true. It's a Wonderful Life will always be a classic. Clarence.
And most of it doesn't even take place at Christmas.
No. Yeah. A lot of flashbacks. Mr. Potter.
If there was anybody who deserved to be shoved out of a wheelchair, it's Potter. He stole that money. Oh, it makes me so mad. He never gets his comeuppance.
He does.
Anyway.
He does, Aaron. We don't see it, but he does. There was this great Saturday Night Live skit that they did. With, do you remember that? That was good.
Yeah.
Where they finally get to him. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good one. Oh, man. Yeah.
All right.
Great movie.
How do you feel about a little trivia?
Let's do a little trivia.
All right. All right. So we got Christmas movie trivia specifically. You ready?
Let's do it.
Question number 1. The producers of Santa Claus the movie, Alexander and Ilya Salkind, were also the production duo behind what superhero franchise of the late 70s and early 80s?
Superman.
That is correct. Superman. Number 2, in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, what kind of idiots work at the Plaza Hotel?
The finest in New York.
That is correct. How many does he have working here? The finest in New York. She's so proud.
You've been smooching with everybody. Sorry. You remember that part?
True.
Boney Pie, Cliff. It's a lie.
All right. Number 3. What unexpected gifts did Aunt Bethany bring to the Griswold home in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? I've got 2 listed, but I'll accept 1.
She wrapped her damn cat.
She wrapped the cat. Jello mold.
The other one's Jello mold. And what's that on the Jello mold? Is it catnip?
No, she's got cat food in the Jello.
In the Jello.
Instead of putting fruit in it, she put cat food in it. All right, number 4. Fred Thompson played an air traffic controller in the Dulles Tower in Die Hard 2. He later went on to represent what state in Congress?
Tennessee.
That is correct. I'm impressed. I wasn't sure you're going to get that one.
Oh, yeah.
According to It's a Wonderful Life, what sound indicates that an angel has received his or her wings?
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. I love that part where the bartender is like, just keeps pushing the button on the cash register. Hey, I'm getting wings.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right. So that's all I've got for trivia.
Boom. Hey, this is like the first time I've gotten all of them.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Wait.
Not bad.
I have the Christmas
spirit. All right. Anything else that you want to say before we wrap this up? Anything else about Christmas Christmas movies, Christmas cheer?
Number one, I am super looking forward to seeing you in person, and I can't wait
I
to see
know.
you in what is that? 9 days, 8 days,
7
eight,
days, 8
7,
days.
yeah, whatever, something like that. When's Christmas?
Well, when this goes out, it'll be Wednesday. Christmas is Sunday. So by the time people are seeing this, it'll only be like 4 days.
I'm really looking
3 days.
forward to that.
I don't know.
Other
I got Friday
so
off. I'm supposed to make Christmas ribbon congealed salad.
that's gross.
How is that a
Um,
salad?
it's not.
Well,
No.
here's the thing. I was assigned that and a dessert of my choice. So since the Jello counts as a salad as part of the meal, I'm gonna make a turkey pot pie and bring it for dessert.
That makes sense.
It does, doesn't
In
it?
proper smart aleck fashion. No, we always we're I think we're in charge of the easiest, which is stuffing.
Nice.
Easy peasy. All right. The other thing I just want to say is Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to anyone listening. Super thankful for you listening and taking the time. Hopefully, it has been fun, a bit of laughter, stress reliever, anything like that, just to be able to listen in. Super thankful for that. And lastly, just I've had the benefit of having, whether it's through watching posts in social media or friends, to see some really kind-hearted, generous giving and kindness shown to people, peers, friends, loved ones, people less fortunate. And it's super awesome to see. And I just want to encourage, if you have an opportunity or you see someone in need, to just say the heck with it and do something. Whether it's paying the grocery bill that's for the person behind you or in front of you, or it's even just capturing that Starbucks from front of you, behind you, or just thinking about someone who just might could use a little help. Because sometimes we get caught up in thinking, hey, I don't have hundreds of dollars that I can just give to anyone. But you know what? You might have 20. You might have something that could just help some. You might be able to cover somebody's gas, at the gas pumps. So anyway, just an opportunity to think about someone else and to give. So I just encourage that to anybody listening. How about you, sir? Anything to say before we say good afternoon?
Well, nothing that positive. I usually complain about giving stuff to people, but no, I'm just kidding.
And here's the
No,
other
this
side.
I echo Landon's sentiments. This holiday season, I know times can be hard, and it can be hard sometimes to find a way to dig deep and give of ourselves. Especially this time of year when we're confronted with so much materialism, and we think about, yeah, you're giving, but you're giving to family and friends that you see all year, and yes, it's generous and kind, and it's out of the love that you have for these people. But do try to remember that there are those who are less fortunate. We're faced with it every day, even if we pretend not to see it sometimes. It's right here on our city streets. It's happening across the country, around the world. People are hurting, and you know, there's that line in that song, do they know it's Christmas? Where that the Bono line where he screams it out. Tonight, thank God it's them instead of you. Well,
Yeah.
someday it could be you. And
Yeah.
that's looking for that handout. So
Yeah.
so be kind, be generous. You never know what kind of day somebody else is having. And really that goes for all year round, not just these
Not
next
just at
few
Christmas. No, that's true.
days, these few weeks before Christmas. So people are hurting all over the place all the time.
Well,
But
I
that
think
being
it's
said,
important to know too, just to echo what you're saying. We can also get into an easy rut where our philosophy gets in the way of our ability to give. Like whether it's like you might have a political, social, philosophy that might prohibit. And sometimes you just got to not let that get in the way, of just trying to hear that voice inside of you, or just that urge, just saying, hey, just just do it. and don't
Yeah.
think about it, just do it, so
I think being kind and caring for other people doesn't have political boundaries, or at least it shouldn't.
yeah.
All right. Well, that is it. Thank you so much for listening or watching. We appreciate you, and just wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. We will not be coming back with a new episode next week because we'll be celebrating Christmas together, and it's gonna be hectic. We're gonna have a blast,
A
and
live
we'll
podcast, not unrecorded, at the dinner table at our grandmother's house. So that's
right. Can you imagine? Can you imagine showing up at Mama's house with like a big microphone and a light and a camera and be like, "All right, where do you want us to set this up?" Nah. So, yeah, we do wish you a Merry Christmas. We will be back with our next episode. I guess that first week of the new year, right?
that's right.
And it's going to be all about trivia, all about trivia.
All
So
trivia.
we'll figure that one out. But in the meantime, have a great whatever it is wherever you are.
Bye-bye.